We're just waiting for the
One
packet.
of those things like.
And that's fine. It's one of those. That is true. One thing, the reason used to take place up in the third year. ATC changed that when you have 12 weeks. That's actually what he said. He goes, that they still need to keep it. So, yeah, this is, and the complaint, it'll just be released. And that with the hearings and everything else. Yeah, free sensitive stuff. The PTC commissioner, the local PTC, 16 commissioners,
Good evening. Time is 6:30 p.m. The regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Freehold for October 16th, 2023 is now called to order. Notice of the time, date, and location of this meeting was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975, the Open Public Meetings Act. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for a salute to the flag, followed by a moment of silence as we remember all those lives that have been lost in the current situation in Israel and for everybody that's affected by this horrible tragedy. Captain Stepp, will you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kane.
Here.
Councilman Benzell.
Here.
Councilwoman Jordan. Here. Councilman Reich.
Here.
Councilwoman Rogers. Here. Councilman Schnurr.
Here.
Councilwoman Schauffer. Here.
Okay, item 4 this evening is the approval of minutes, council meeting October 2nd, 2023.
I'll move those minutes, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto.
Yes.
Jordan. Yes. Reich.
Yes.
Rogers. Yes. Schnurr.
Abstain.
Schutzer. Yes.
Okay, the minutes of council meeting October 2nd, 2023 are approved. Item 5 is the second reading public hearing ordinance 2023/24, amending and supplementing Title 13, Public Services, the Code of the Borough of Freehold. This is the second reading of this ordinance. I'd like to open it up from the public. Anyone from the public cares to ask on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing no public comment, I'd like to move this portion be closed.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto.
Yes.
Jordan. Yes. Reich.
Yes.
Rogers. Yes. Schnurr.
Yes.
Schutzer. Yes.
Okay, the public portion is closed. We have a resolution adopting ordinance 2023/24 and authorization of publication.
I'd like to move that.
Second, please. Discussion?
Yes, this establishes water and sewer connection fees. This will be for new construction. It's a new apartment building, restaurant, what have you. So this will, again, establish water and sewer connection fees. I'd like to thank our business administrator as well as our current CFO that helped us with this, because our prior CFO didn't seem to have the time to be able to do this. So I'm really appreciative that our professionals were able to get this done. This has been on the docket for a few years now.
Thank you. Any other comment? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto.
Yes.
Jordan. Yes. Reich.
Yes.
Rogers. Yes. Schnurr.
Yes.
Schutzer. Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023/24 is adopted. Item 6 is second reading public hearing, ordinance 2023/25, amending and supplementing Title III, Revenue and Finance. Again, this is second reading public hearing. I'd like to open up for the public. Anyone from the public like to address the governing body on this, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing no comment from the public, I move the public portion be closed.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Reich?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schnurr?
Yes.
Schuster?
Yes.
Okay, the public portion is closed. We have a resolution adopting ordinance 2023/25 and authorization of publication.
I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Reich?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schnurr?
Yes.
Schuster?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023/25 is adopted. Item 7 is the first reading introduction ordinance 2023/26, amending and supplementing Title II, Administration and Personnel.
I'll offer that.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, it just has to do with our special officers, classes 1, 2, and 3. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion? Can I roll call, please?
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Reich?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schnurr?
Yes.
Schuster?
Yes.
The ordinance 2023/26 is introduced. Item 8 is our consent agenda, and just a note that matters listed on the items of consent agenda are required to conduct the day-to-day operation of the borough and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If this discussion is desired of any items, that item will be considered separately. If somebody would like to move consent agenda items CR1 through CR5?
Before I move it, I would just like to say something about CR4, A, B, and C. I congratulate these gentlemen. This group of our DPW were very, very hard, and these promotions are well-deserved. My hat goes off to them. You see them around Monday, Sunday, all the way to Saturday. I'd just like to say congratulations to them, and I will move that.
And I will second it, and I will second his emotion.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Reich?
Yes, but I abstain on CR5.
Rogers?
Yes, abstaining on CR3.
Schnurr?
Yes.
Schuster?
Yes.
Okay, our consent agenda items CR1 through CR5 are adopted. Item 9 this evening is the approval of bills.
I move that we pay our bills.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan? Yes. Reich?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schnurr?
Yes.
Schuster?
Yes.
Okay, our bill list is approved. Item 10 is public comments. We'd like to open it up to the public for if anyone has a comment to the governing body, just please step forward, state your name and address it with the record.
And was the presentation?
Presentation.
Presentation's off, right?
Right.
Oh,
I didn't know if you were gonna mention that.
on the original agenda, there was an item 10 that's being held to our next council meeting. Okay, so now we are on 11, right? Did I say 10 before? I scratched that. Rewind that tape, Trace. Item 11, sorry about that. Our public comments. Again, if anyone would like to make a comment to the governing body, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Christine from West George Street, and I wanted to bring up my favorite subject, the e-bikes. On the way here tonight, I walked from my place to here. 7 e-bikes were on the sidewalk at different times, and 2 of them almost ran right into me in the back. And as you all know, across the bar at Lincoln Institute and South Street, and I see many of those people driving on the sidewalk, and I always tell them you have to be on the street, not on the sidewalk, but I know a lot of people in town who've encountered them as well, and I just feel that if the past, which is great. I feel it should be enforced more than it is now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, it bothers me too to see this as a businessman downtown, to see people almost get hit, and Jeff is out there and all the see. But in my opinion, this is a state problem, and I think we should write a strong letter to the state, encouraging them to possibly come up with something to give us a little bit more a way to our ordinances and everything. Maybe that would be a good idea. I mean, going future, in 2024, maybe we should be. I mean, it's a bike. That goes 30 miles an hour. I just think that the state should do something. I think as a governing body, we should tell the state they need to do something to give us a little bit more meat on our ordinances. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the public care to make a comment?
Hi, my name is Tony Fields, 67 Hull Avenue. I'm the chairperson of the Freehold Halloween Spectacular. I just wanted to thank Ronnie and all of his people, the police department. They do an amazing job every year. Ronnie gets texted me all the time. We're already planning next year, so thank you guys. Definitely the DPW. As I'm new to all of this, I'm getting to know, putting faces to names, and they did such a wonderful job with getting the barricades out and the garbage cans and all that. And Mayor and Council, for you guys supporting us and coming out to our events, it really means a lot. And also Jeff and Drew, Downtown Freeholds, all the people that we kind of work together to schedule our events so that we're not doing it all together and that we can all be together and have different events in our town, and I love that. To all the volunteers, Chris, thank you for coming out to volunteer. We just had so many volunteers, and we appreciate it. We appreciate this town, my husband and I, and if I can thank my husband, because he can't wait till November 1st. Thank you for this opportunity, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, if I may, I have to give equal time, because last week I said, behind every successful man, there's a good woman. Behind every successful woman, there's a good man. So John, thank you. We'll talk more.
Anyone else in care to make a public comment?
Sam Gates, 83 Orchard Street. So I live on Orchard Street, as I'm sure a lot of you know. There's a rather large construction project going on the one side of Orchard Street, and there have been a couple of concerns that I have about that. This past weekend, they had on Friday dug up various locations by some of the transformer boxes and left those open holes that were immediately touching the sidewalks without any kind of caution tape or anything. The dirt from the holes was spilled onto the sidewalks, obstructing passage for it. It just is pretty dangerous. I'm not from New Jersey originally, but I know that where I'm from in Massachusetts, having worked in construction, excavation specifically for a decade, that's definitely something, it's a real hazard, and needs to be hopefully fixed in some way. They need to know that you can't just leave an open hole for people to fall. Other issues that they've had, they poured a new sidewalk for a couple hundred feet, but they did not adjoin it to the existing sidewalk. So there's about 1.5 foot gap, as well as it being, I can't think of what the word is, but they're like this.
It's not aligned.
Yeah, it's unaligned, and it also doesn't extend all the way out. So it's dangerous. If you'd like, I have pictures of these things that I could show the council members, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think you spoke to Mr. Gallo.
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
Why don't you email
Yeah.
He'll email us your pictures. It'll be
Definitely.
easier to.
Definitely, thank you. And then the two other things, the other side of the sidewalk, they extended the curb about an extra 100 or 150 feet beyond where they extended the sidewalk. They extended the curb all the way to the end of Orchard Street where Railroad Ave begins, which I assume means that's what their responsibility is, but they only extended the sidewalk until the end of the houses. The real problem with that is there is a very long stretch, both the remaining portion of Orchard Street and all of Railroad Ave until it joins up with Marcy Street, where there is no sidewalk on either side. There is a blind corner that has a fence that goes all the way out to the street. So anyone that I don't know if anybody else lives over in that area, but when you try to walk, you have to walk in the street because there's a washout gully on the grass, so you can't even walk in the grass, so you have to walk in the street, and you can't see cars coming around. So it's just extremely dangerous. I was hoping that they would be made to continue the sidewalk all the way up to where there is an existing sidewalk, because that is a route for children to walk to school.
Is that even their property, Steve?
That, I don't know. No, that is not their property.
I think it's railroad property.
Whose?
I think it's railroad property.
Yeah, see, I think the planning board resolution probably has them doing sidewalks on their property, but not.
But they haven't even continued for the entirety of their property is the problem. Because if their property is presumably what they had to do the entire length of curbing, they did not extend the sidewalk for the entire length of that. So at minimum to do that, so then if in future time we could get sidewalks for the rest, there's not still this gap of 100, 200 feet.
Sure.
The last portion of it is 15 years ago when Orchard Street was originally put in, the company, I guess, was borderline or went bankrupt. I'm not sure entirely of the situation with it, but clearly they were not required to put up a bond to make sure that the road was properly paved because the road was never finished. There's the initial binder coat put down, but if you've ever driven down that road, every single manhole cover is 4 to 6 inches above because you're supposed to put a layer of top coat on top that makes everything nice and level. That was never done because they were not required to put up such a bond that if they did have some issue where they left, that the city would be able to put the road down at their cost. So my ask in regards to that is that before any occupancy permit is given to any of those properties, that they'd be required to at least put up a bond assuring that the road will be paved properly upon completion.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, just do me a favor, just make sure Mr. Gallagher.
Of course, I know that was a lot of information. Thank you.
Are you off during the day?
Thank you.
Are you around during the day?
I'm a teacher, so not really. On the weekends I am. My wife can be around. She works in downtown Freehold, so my wife could be around.
If Steve sends somebody out there, I just, Monday through Friday, we're doing working hours, it's easier for us, right, Steve?
Yeah,
For sure.
Wednesday and Friday, she's,
Let Steve
yeah.
know.
Yeah, we'll talk after the meeting.
Okay, great.
I do think it's important to point out, though, that this was a project that went into limbo for quite some time. It got its approvals,
Yeah.
and then it sat, and there was a dispute between two members of the same family, and one guy came out on top, and he restarted the project. That he is required to resurface the entire road, and that will be done, before the project is finished. But we'll talk about his concerns, we'll make sure they get addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else care to make a comment to the governing body?
Chris Velasco, Phillips Road. I want to loop back to Christine's item about the e-bikes, because I remember when the ordinance was presented, and there were a number of people that got up and spoke about the concern for bikes on the sidewalk and the e-bikes and the number of pedestrians either getting mowed over or almost. that you had said maybe get the state involved, but I remember when I came up and I had said I asked who was going to enforce it. And Mayor, I believe it was you had said that the police department would. So doesn't the police department have the ability when they see somebody with an e-bike to, I mean, you can give them a fine, but it's not gonna, they may never pay it, but can't you confiscate that bike and then make them come down and pay the fine and then you give them the bike back?
You got to ask. I don't know the law that well.
No, you can give them a ticket, but you can't basically take their stuff.
So someone on an e-bike who doesn't really need any type of identification to be on their persons, you know, like a driver's license when you're parking a car, you can never be sure of who that person really is. They can tell you they're John Smith and they're not John Smith. So how can it be enforced on the local level without having to get the state involved? So that's my concern, because it's not helping. All the signage isn't helping.
That's what I'm trying to say. If the state comes in and you have to register, like you do a motorcycle, then there's registration. I mean, the state's missing out on an opportunity to make more money, in my mind. And this way, helmets, just like a motorcycle. To their defense, though, I on my walk to work 2 days, last week or the week before, they've been out there, the officers, on foot, and I saw them out there. In Jeff's defense, Jeff and I got the bird one night trying to tell a couple of kids to, please don't ride, please don't ride.
Can there be patrols when downtown Freehold is the busiest? Lunchtime, dinner times,
There are
the
patrols.
weekends? Like, no, on foot.
On
Just
foot.
because I sat there and just, they're whizzing up and down, past Fence and the Gesture all the time.
Yeah, you gotta, I don't know their schedule, but they were out there in the morning, two mornings with the last 2 weeks.
You want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
The chief has put out, probably, we did warnings for a couple months just to let people know about the new ordinance and everything that was out there. And at least over the last month or so, the chief has ordered that in addition to our new parking authority guys who are downtown learning Main Street and South Street, but there is one of our squad members has been downtown.
Okay, well, I just, eventually someone's going to really get hurt badly, and it could just lead to lawsuits or whatever, so I would hate for somebody to have to get hurt for something to be done.
Correct.
That's all. Thanks.
We're also, Chris, we're also working, I said that, with Easy Ride with the state, Lisa Lee. She'll be coming in November and doing education classes for Easy Bike and where you can and can't ride on, in both English and Spanish.
And where would those be held?
They're going to be held at the car offices that will be opening up this Thursday.
Okay, but
On South Street.
What about like the schools, high schools, intermediate,
Well, the high schools, the intermediate school, we have a bike safety every June. We do it for the 5th graders, we teach them how to ride the bikes, we teach them how to wear helmets, we teach them bike safety, we do a poster contest on it, we do a little book of bike safety, so we're doing that already in schools.
But what about with the high school?
Well, the high school, first of all, high school is not a bike riding district, the high school is a busing.
I know, but they are more likely, because they don't have their license to have a bike, to get around town, because they don't have a
They're more than happy to come to the training, and Jeff can give you that, and Mike just said it himself, a lot of them have attitudes and they don't want to listen.
Speaking as a high school teacher, high schoolers would just skip that day.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Exactly.
Ms. Mayor, if I may also, there's been a lot of tech news about e-bikes recently because the technology is changing because of the issues that people have been having where the batteries have been exploding and whatnot. A lot of the tech articles coming out now, not only about the equipment changing and whatnot, but how there are, in some places, potentially federal and state mandates and ordinances coming down about registration because they used to be 10, 15 miles an hour max, but now with the technology that's coming out, they're getting faster. They're in the realm of motorcycles and things like that. So there's word about licensing and registrations coming and things like that. And I think Councilman Benedetto's comment was just about if we can kind of push that a little bit and make it happen a bit further. Now we can do things like, as you recommended, if someone gets in too many citations and they get it, there's extra levels of penalties that can be enforced, which would help deter even more e-bikes on the sidewalk. So there are things coming, but we have to, we're going to try on our end to make recommendations, and we also have to see what comes down from above to us.
But to your point about, giving summonses or whatever, so many citations.
Right.
If they don't have an ID on them, because they're only 15,
Correct.
14, you don't know what the name that they're giving you.
And it takes some time. For instance, with drones. Drones used to be free reign, and now there's a federal registration that you have to go through if you have a drone over a certain size that can go a certain distance and things like that. Part of it is for tracking, but another part of it is so that if there is an issue and they need to find somebody, they have a name attached to the equipment. So that took a long time to happen. So it's going to happen. It's just how can we help it on our end to kind of get it to us, and also we have to just be on the lookout to see what happens.
Is there any way that the town can institute a registration process? They have to register their e-bike, and then you can see if they're in an apartment building too, which goes to some of the concerns that were raised about e-bikes being in town.
I don't know where
and
the
the risk of
boundary
fire.
is. I don't know where the boundary is on that.
It's a legal question.
I'll have to figure that out.
You can't supersede the state.
Yeah, you can, right?
Because the state has, you can't come up with your own and.
I remember growing up when I had to register my bike, like I went to the police department, we did our little
Those were the
course,
good old
learned our
days.
hand signals, and then we registered our bikes. So in case they were lost or stolen, the police department would have your number, and if it was found, they could get it back to you. But I'm just thinking, can something like that be done local?
See what we can do.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public care to make a comment?
Roger Kane, South Street. I just want to talk about the e-bikes. Christina's right, they're a real problem. And South Street, they fly up and down the street. But I can tell you that I've seen the cops stopping them on South Street. So that they are patrolling and they are trying to do their job. But probably the registration is probably not a bad idea if there's some way to register those bikes. But they're definitely stopping them on South Street. And I also want to say, a couple years ago, we decided Spectacular needed some new blood and some new ideas. And so that's when Tony took over, and I got to tell you, she's doing a fabulous job. And the things that we were hoping it would never end. And now it's taken on a new life, and it's better than ever. So it worked. We got a great chairperson, and she's doing a great job. Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
she's got a great support system at home.
How you doing, everyone? Jeff Friedman, 3 Broad Street, downtown Freehold. I wanted to thank the police department for their support with the American Legion Car Show. It was a great day, and Legion raised a lot of money for their organization, which is good. People had a great time at the car show. Lots of families came out. It was a fun time, had by all. And I want to remind everyone this Sunday is our food truck festival. 3rd time's a charm. Rained out in April, rained out in June. So we're going to get this off on October 22nd. So come on out and have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you.
You get full in the truck, and then you go dance, and then you're no longer full.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Benedetto?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Reich?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schnur?
Yes.
Schatzler?
Yes.
Okay, item 12, our council comments. Start off with Council President Benedetto.
Yes, I'm sorry to say my captive audience who I had my speech ready for is not here tonight. Shame. Again, thanks for all the people in the audience who made our town a hopping, as Sharon said, an electric town this weekend. All of you volunteered, all of you put it together. It was a very, very nice, nice weekend. Jeff, the bands are done. You and Drew can kick your feet up a little bit now. Great job this weekend. It was very, very nice. Hopefully it won't rain this Sunday. I don't know, long range forecast doesn't say that, so. That's about it. I just, Tony, great job. John, thanks for helping her out. And Bill Madden, Notre Dame would beat Duke, you'd be right there in the big bowl. It's nice to see you back at the meeting too. Everybody have a good night, and I guess this is our next meeting. We won't be back till after election time. So get out and vote. It's your privilege. So you should use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jordan.
Thank you. Yesterday was a phenomenal day. I think, how many times did you go around, John? 9?
9:45.
No. How many, 9? No, now how many runs did we do on the way?
9 full runs.
9. So it was an amazing day, and I got to be, I guess, a wagon wrangler, I think they're called. And it was wonderful, seeing all the kids and everything out there, having a great time, all the hundreds. But my favorite part of it is I've been talking to people on the run. And I take every brother, Bricktown, Red Bank, Colts Neck, Old Bridge, and they're like, I don't know, this is an amazing town. You guys are amazing. The leadership is amazing. Well, I wish we could do this in our town. And kudos to all the volunteers. Kudos to the police department. Kudos to Streets and Roads. I mean, it just all came together. I think there was over close to 1,000 people. 1,000 people. And that's just unbelievable. So thank you. And everything went up pretty smoothly, I think so. But more spectaculars to come. So we have this coming Saturday night on the 21st, we have Monster Mash, and that's kind of geared towards the littler ones. Judy Guy is chairing that. There'll be bounce houses, there'll be contests, rain jack-o'-lantern, free food and drink. That's from 6 to 8 at the Hall of Records. So everybody come out. And music, we have a DJ. So come on out for that. And the house decorating for the deadline was today, and the decorating judging will begin tomorrow, and then that will also be announced at Monster Mash, the winner for the house decorating contest. And then, of course, if you guys have an opportunity, the window painting was done last week. Wow, what talent these kids have! If you have an opportunity, come on out. It's all down on the streets around town. But also go over to Broad Street Plaza. That's where our intermediate kids painted, and some of them are just absolutely spectacular as well. So if you take a look over there as well. Just so you guys know, first place was Psycho. Is that Psycho or American Psycho? That was first place. That was Howell High School. Second place on the winners was Sweeney Todd. That was Township High School. The Aspos, I don't know what that is. What is that? That was Colts Neck. That was third place. I'm not sure what that was. And then honorable mentions was Poltergeist. That was Hal with the kid looking into the TV. And the Scarecrow. That was Margot. So the kids all did a phenomenal job. It just wasn't one school that swept. It was across the board. So again, thank you guys. It was a great time. And the costume and parade are going to be on the 29th. So if you would like to participate or dress your kids up or your dog or whatever, or yourself, or your family, you can come on down and register. The registration for the costume contest at 12:30? 12. And we step off at 1 o'clock. And that's going to go through town. Afterwards, we'll be able to the awards on that. So it's going to be a great day. It's always a phenomenal parade. Just a couple more things. Neighborhood Connections to Health, along with the Mayor's Wellness Committee, is having a veggies and vaccination clinic on 10/28 at the Park Avenue complex, where the Friendly Health Center is. There's going to be flu shots as well as a new COVID vaccine shot as well. The event will be 10:30 to 1 p.m. Also, we're going to have, it's going to be accessible for people with disabilities. So if you have people who have that, there'll be arrangements for them if they can't get out of their car or whatever. There'll be people there to help out. And that is also going to have some health vendors as well, in case you had any questions about different aspects of health living and health style, you can come on out and ask about that. Giveaways and prizes as well, so everybody come on out if they want to get that. Also, the high school, on October 26th, are doing their second annual trunk or treat. They're looking for organizations to come on in and promote the organization and to set up a car and give out candy. That's going to be at the high school from 5 till 8 p.m. And hopefully everybody's following the library and the construction at the library. That's coming along quite nicely, and we actually hope that that will be done by mid-November. So just keep a lookout, and then we'll start moving our library back in. Have a soft opening come either December or January. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Reich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In conjunction with the library completion, the Human Relations Advisory Commission's committee's winter walking tour is going to focus on educational buildings in Freehold, both past and present. And we're hoping that we can work it out so that the end of the tour is at the Freehold Library and we can celebrate the grand reopening of the library. We're in the coordination stages right now, so keeping an eye out for postings and information coming for that. Most likely, we're probably going to be pushing it to the beginning of next year, just to avoid the holiday rush and the holiday weekends and make sure there's enough time for the library to get situated back together and everything can happen there. I know I'm echoing everything that was said, but the spooktacular events this past week were fantastic. Loved walking to work on during the week and seeing all the drop cloths and all the kids getting ready to paint and putting up their pictures and whatnot. It was awesome to see. And then I got stuck in meetings most of the day, so coming out at the end of the day to see the final product was just really cool. And then yesterday's hayride, it's the first time that we've ever been in town this weekend to attend the hayride. And my boys and my niece were both very nervous because they know about, haunted hayrides. But they had such a great time, and I think part of it is because it's done during the day. And so it takes out that nighttime scare factor a little bit, but now they want to go do the scary ones. and so now my wife is like, my wife and my sister are like, the scary ones at night, all right, well, if they have nightmares, you get to stay up with them. So, yeah, right. So, but it was fantastic. It was awesome. Between the dance troops and the people putting on, plays in their front yard and getting fingers and ears fished at us from sidewalks, it was just really, really cool to see. And the day started out great with some great weather and the American Legion Post 54 car and truck show on Sunday morning. There were classic cars, muscle cars, exotic cars, everything that, if you were just a fan of cars, it was great to see. And of course, all proceeds for the event went to help local veterans, which is always a great cause. And I just want to congratulate all the owners who were recognized and awarded. Lastly, I want to read a statement that was posted by the Human Relations Advisory Committee on social media earlier today, so bear with me for a moment if you please. The Freehold Borough Human Relations Advisory Committee, HRAC, would like to send our thoughts and support to all of those impacted by the tragic situation in the Middle East. The killing of innocent Palestinians and Jewish people is appalling and unconscionable. We denounce terrorism, hate, violence, and the senseless murder of civilians anywhere in the world. Civilians should never be a target of war. This war is profoundly isolating and scary for Jewish and Palestinian Americans, and we further condemn all anti-Semitic or Islamophobic statements and hate crimes. Please check on your neighbors and friends. HRAC is dedicated to fostering an atmosphere of understanding and acceptance of everyone in Freehold Borough. We are a community and should support each other as such, especially in times of uncertainty and grief. So my thoughts go out to all those who are affected by things that are happening back in the Middle East. And we, as your neighbors and friends, are here for you if you need anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rogers.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Domenica, who's our neighborhood preservation coordinator, for the wonderful job she did with the half-mile horses. We had our closing ceremony, and it was just beautiful. The diversity of the horses and of the artists was amazing. And we had young, we had old, we had middle-aged, and it was just a beautiful thing to have in town. And I also want to mention those of us who were at Foodstock this weekend. We thought it was going to be rained out, but they managed to pull it off anyway, and it was beautiful. They did an amazing job, and I'm so proud of the work food that they collected. For the time that I was there, when he made the announcement, they had already collected 80,000 pounds of food. And this was even with the weather, so that was amazing. So I was so glad to be able to be a part of that and to be able to attend, and that they were still able to hold it with some adjustments. And I was not able to attend the events yesterday, but I feel like I was there because of all the videos and photos and comments and everything. It just looked like it was just an amazing day. But I also just wanted to give a shout out to Bethel for honoring the law for the Face and Blue Sunday that they did, Sunday service that they did. I really, really, really wanted to go to that, but I wasn't able to make it because of prior commitments. And it looks like it was just such a beautiful service. So, you know, I'm grateful that they took time out to honor our law enforcement and our prosecutors and those who serve every day don't always get the appreciation they deserve. Just in general, I am so excited to see the activity in the town continuing, even though the weather's starting to get a little cooler, and I'm trying to make every event that I can. I'm not a big Halloween fan, I'll admit it, but I enjoy the Spooktacular event so much that I come out of my, you know, my non-like of Halloween just to enjoy those events because they're just so much fun. So anybody, if you're free this weekend, you know, on Saturday, try and get out and come over to the Munster Mash. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun with Ebony leading the dancing and things like that. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's really all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Starr.
Thank you, Mayor King. Well, Freel Borough definitely knows how to do October.
They do.
We've heard of all the events throughout the month. We definitely know how to do October, that's for sure. I'd also like to thank Domenica and Steve for finding a way to use the Neighborhood Preservation Program funds to finish the mural project at the Court Street School. And that is what we're supposed to be doing with the funds. So I think that's a great idea. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when you go down Court Street, you see the Court Street School, you'll see a mural that was started, and we just need to finish it. This is going to be a great project when it's all said and done. Maybe we'll do a little picture of Margaret down at the bottom. There's pictures of Bruce back there, so why not, right? One other thing I wanted to mention, at the Monday, August 21st council meeting, as the liaison to code enforcement, I explained that our residents will be able to log code enforcement complaints online. We've been beta testing the system called SDL, which stands for Spatial Data Logic, and we use the system for code enforcement, for construction, for permitting, and I said at that time that it would be up and running by the end of October, and it is. It's live now, and it's ahead of schedule. So when you log a code complaint, it's actually in the database that our people use. You get an email confirmation with a tracking number. The email shows the history and has various statuses that you get informed on, like it's submitted. You get an email back saying it's submitted. You'll get an email back when our code people are looking at it and they're reviewing it, and then you get an email back when it's completed. There are no anonymous complaints with this system. Okay, you have to create a user ID and password to identify yourself. System allows you to add documents, photos, commentary, and I know it works because I initiated a complaint about the house I live in. I said the grass is up to the ankles. Something must be done. So I know, and I followed the emails through the email chain, and
You can tell he's retired.
Yes.
So we got back to that you had to mow your own lawn?
Yes, I was out there today taking care of that code complaint that I filed against myself. So the whole thing works. Now, there is no anonymous complaints. If you want to make an anonymous complaint, you can just call code if you want to do that. But if you're going online, you have to identify yourself. Now, I've been doing this for a few years. When people go through the code department, I may hear about it. When people come to me directly and ask and tell me about a code complaint, before I refer it to the code department, I look at it myself, and I gotta tell you, at least a third of them are not code problems. They're neighbor against neighbor, they want to weaponize the code department against somebody they don't like, and I politely tell people that, no, we can't be doing that. But if you go online, you have to identify yourself. I just want to make that clear. And I'd like to thank Steve Gallo and Matt Young, my code enforcement guy, to be able to pull all this together. Other thing I want to mention, and this is, you know, our last meeting before Election Day. So I'm going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. Right. Now, that shouldn't be a surprise. All right, I'm obviously going to vote for Mayor Kane for mayor, Councilman DiBenedetto for council, and Jeff Friedman for council as well. That's not a surprise. What might be a surprise is why. About Mike. In all the years that I've been on council for 17 years, I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about this guy. Never. I've heard him say bad things about me, but not about him. And I want you to think about that for a moment. In 2017, Mike was inducted into the New Jersey League of Municipalities Elected Officials Hall of Fame. Let's think about that. Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Mike was first sworn into office January 1997, and at the conclusion of 2023 will mark his 27th year representing the good people of Freehold Borough. That's why I'm voting for him. Okay? His heart is in the right place. Now, Jeff Friedman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you deserve it. I mean, it's just that simple. About Jeff. Jeff is he served on almost every single committee we have here in town, in some way, shape, or form. I've been on plenty of meetings with Jeff, and the phone doesn't stop ringing. The guy works very hard at what he does. His job being the downtown business partnership. I'm going to call it CEO, even though they abandoned that title a long time ago. But that's basically what he does. But he's involved in just about everything. Okay? He's almost another council person already. So to make that step to replace me is really not much of a step for him. And again, I can go through all the different things that Jeff has been involved with. But he's just involved in just about everything we have here in town. Okay, so that's a no-brainer. I mean, matter of fact, when I heard that Jeff was interested in running for the council, I took a sigh of relief because I knew everything was going to be fine. Mayor Kane. Before I get into this, I've served with the governor's transition team. When Murphy became governor, I was on his transition team. I've served with the Monmouth County Democrats Executive Committee. There's only like a handful of people at that time doing it. I've met a lot of people, a lot of elected officials, not just in Monmouth County, but throughout the state. And I gotta tell you, our mayor is light years ahead of most of them. Light years. In terms of experience, education, leadership, vision, light years ahead of most of these people throughout the state. We should be thankful we have him, actually. He's been mayor since January 1st, 2020. He was a councilman from 2002 to 2019. He has his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from the University of Charleston, West Virginia, Master of Public Administration from Rutgers. He's a New Jersey Qualified Purchasing Agent, and we'll talk about that in a second. Former Council President, 2007, 2013, 2019. Former Chairman of Finance Public Safety Committee, member of the Freel Borough Unified Planning Board, member of the Brookdale Community College President's Community Advisory Council, a member of New Jersey Municipal Management Association, member of New Jersey Planning Officials, member of Government Purchasing Association of New Jersey. You tell me one mayor in Monmouth County that has those credentials. Tell me one. It doesn't. This guy is the most qualified in terms of experience, education, leadership, and vision. Nobody can touch him, and that is a expert opinion, because I've met a lot of people throughout the state and Monmouth County. And to think that he's being chided for going to a qualified purchasing class on his own time, we should be thankful that he, in addition to working his full-time job, he wants to go at night to class. And that's a negative? It's not a negative, that's a positive. We should be thankful that we have a guy that works this hard for us. And by the way, the administrator at the time, he sets aside funds for education, attendance at seminars, conferences, and meetings for all the employees, not just politicians, right? And Kevin asked, I was a member of the Finance Committee for 17 years. I've been on the Finance Committee for 17 years. I know what happened. Kevin asked the administrator, what do you think would benefit Freehold Borough? And he told him, take the QPA course, take the Qualified Purchasing course. So he did. Guess who signed it? Ricky Gards. He signed the voucher. When you go online and you look at the voucher, conveniently, his name is cut off from the bottom. So you don't have the whole voucher. You just have the voucher with Kevin's signature. You don't have the voucher with Ricky's signature. That's being dishonest. Let's face it. That's being dishonest. If you didn't like the idea, if Ricky Gards didn't like the idea back then, you should have complained about it back then and said he signed it. Like I said, we should be thankful we have Kevin as our mayor. The most qualified person. He has better credentials than any other mayor in Monmouth County. Without question, there's nobody that comes close. That's why I voted for him. I know we're not supposed to talk politics. No written rule. So I'm fired. Right, so that's who I voted for. And I'm not going to sit there and start blasting the opposition. I'm not going to do that. Just take a look. Hall of Fame, Downtown Partnership. Kevin, give me a break. Who else would I vote for? Right? I'm done.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you. Councilwoman Schutzer.
What do I say?
You could
I
agree,
just,
you could agree with me.
What? Excuse me?
You could agree with me.
I have a comment about that. First of all, last week's Wednesday night concert was the last of the season. It was the Nerds. There was a tremendous crowd downtown who enjoyed every minute of the concert and the atmosphere and the whole downtown area. So I'm sure I'll be accused of, playing politics, but I'm not. Jeff and Drew, it was just a marvelous season of concerts, and it was just wonderful. So thank you, and certainly closed it with a bang on last Wednesday night. Also last Tuesday night was the Flavor Freehold, and the Flavor Freehold sold out within a day. I mean, it was unbelievable, and it was worth it. I work the stand for the Alliance, and the Alliance to Prevent Substance Abuse, which will benefit from half the proceeds and so I want to thank the downtown business folks for participating in that. That's a wonderful cause, and it was wonderful. When Mike quoted me as saying that the downtown was electric, that's the message that I sent out that night of the Flavor of Freehold. It was electric downtown. One place was better than the next. I saw one unhappy person, and she screamed and carried on. And you know why she screamed and carried on? Because we were sold out of tickets, and she screamed at us for selling out of tickets so fast. I heard not one complaint about parking. I heard not one complaint about anything. The town was electric, and there were people from all over who came into this town. Not only for the Flavor of Freehold, but for the Spooktacular, for the car show yesterday that the American Legion ran. It's just been for all the concerts in town. Oh my goodness. And I know, for me to say older lady, she probably was younger than I am, but one older lady called me over at the awarding of the awards for the half-mile of horses, and she said to me, oh my goodness, she said, I have so many questions. Number one, where do the flowers come from? They're beautiful, especially for you. She was just one thing after another, and I said, where are you from? And she said, I live in Manalapan. And she said, we come to everything this town does. I'm telling you, the town was electric. I hear some of the things that are said, some of the complaints, and I think, I lie awake at night and think, are we talking about the same town? Don't you have to spend money to make money and to promote and to do all the things that we do in town? But that's not what I came here to say tonight. I just wanted to thank everybody. That Spooktacular yesterday was wonderful. Did you see one unhappy person? No. Everybody was laughing. I didn't hear anybody complaining about standing in line, having to stand in line. The people at all the vendors' little tables were happy, and it just was, again, electric. And I know that I'm going to hear that electric. It's going to come back to, oh, and Sharon Schutzer thought it was electric. Because I don't think anybody will say that to me, but you know as well as I do that it'll be said. Just like the last time when I said, I'm up to here with it, and that came back to, Anyway, the Spooktacular, by the way, if you're a volunteer with that Spooktacular committee, please stand up right now. Please. Come on, Judy. I know, I saw him. He wasn't dressed up on the and I thought it was just.
That's not his costume?
No.
I'm
Anyway.
working on a new mask.
Most of what happens, and Annette, you being our liaison with the spectacular, thank you for your whole work.
We love it.
And cooking hot dogs. And cooking hot dogs. I too want to thank Bethel AME Church, which, by the way, is in the township, but which we claim as the borough, and they claim us as their government. So, yesterday they had Faith in Blue, and as Margaret said, and honored all law enforcement and first responders. It was indeed a lovely service. Our officers were so involved with downtown yesterday and the car show and the spectacular and everything. We had a representative there, Sergeant Santana was there to represent the officers in the borough. And we were very proud of him and all of our officers and first responders. And again, thank you to Bethel for that. You know, they say, I heard, not that he's my guru or anything, but I heard Pete Davidson on Saturday Night Live say that sometimes we have to face and attack tragedy with humor and taking care of each other. And so I don't mean to be disrespectful. My heart is with all of the folks who have so profoundly been affected by the violence and the terrible things going on. But keeping in mind that, you know, I just want to say, happy birthday to George. His birthday is this weekend, and I'm just thrilled to be able to announce it, and I'm thrilled to be able to say that somebody besides me is having birthdays.
He just mowed it.
Yeah, don't talk to me about that lawn. That lawn is screaming for him to go back to work. He's out there every other day mowing that lawn. That lawn doesn't know what it is.
But it was a code complaint.
Anyway, right. Anyway, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to do what George did because he doesn't have to worry about being fired at this point. I'm not going to say for whom I'm voting, but I am going to say this. In this election, I'll tell you for what I am voting. I'm voting for character. I'm voting for love of Freehold as opposed to retribution. I'm voting for compassion. I'm voting for honesty. I'm voting for sincerity. I am voting for Freehold Borough. Thank you.
Thank you. Guess the deal's to me, huh? Before we adjourn, I just want to make a couple comments too. First of all, Tony, John, your entire committee, what a tremendous job. I know, when my dad and that was looking to step down from Spectacular, they said, you know, we've been doing this for so long. We need somebody good, young, and you guys have just moved into the area and got involved. And I tell you what, yesterday, seeing all those people, 1,000 people on the ride, you turned away 150 or so, correct? I mean, and like everyone's saying, people from all over just come. And to see, what did you say the number of skits? 42?
It was like 48.
48
Not to
skits.
mention the hunters, like walking around the parking lot.
Crazy. And because Mel and I, we were watching, and then we took a ride around, and little kid, like little kids. And what's great about this town are the volunteers. I say it every year at reorg. All the volunteers usually, come for reorg meeting, and I usually say, this room is what makes this town so great, but to see those little kids getting involved in the community, I mean, that's how we grew up. You're taught as kids, get involved with your town, volunteer, become a volunteer, and give back to your community. And once that's part of your fabric, you're going to do that the rest of your life, and no matter where you go, you're going to continue to volunteer and volunteer. And we taught our kids, and now we're working on our grandkids. You'll see them at anything, handing stuff out. And so I just want to say thank you for actually all the volunteers in the room, for everything you do. But it's what makes this town great. I mean, like I said, we've been volunteering since we were little kids. Barb can't get them to stop. He's just like, stop, Roger, you've had enough, to stop. But it's just exciting, and it's what makes people want to come to Freehold Borough, because we do so many great things. I mean, Sam's why you bought a house here, probably. Yep. Bill, like Mike said, it's so good to see you. I just want to go. I mean, it's silly season now. There's 3 weeks left of the election, and things are getting crazy, and you're hearing a lot of crap. And we haven't done anything for 4 years. I'm just going to go run through some statistics with you. You could just keep them in your mind. You're hearing a lot of nonsense about debt, that we're reckless spending and debt. You don't borrow money without a plan to pay it back. That's the number one thing. And any long-term investment, you spread it out. I mean, your mortgages, most people have a mortgage, right? Unless you're fortunate to be able to buy a house, cash or whatever. Most people have a mortgage because that's an investment that's going to go long-term. It's the same thing with municipal debt. Why should the taxpayers of today pay for something that somebody 20 years from now is going to benefit from? You take the life of whatever it is you're borrowing for, and you spread it out so everybody has equal enjoyment and equal pay throughout the whole thing. It's a simple concept, But some of the things we do borrow money for, roadway improvements. Like over the last, I'm just going to talk to you about what we've done the last 4 years, because there's a lot of nonsense now about nothing's been happening. Roadway improvements. We repaid Francis, Berkeley, Yard, Stokes, and Ford. Curbs, sidewalks, mill and paving, and some infrastructure work on those. The new Borough Hall, where we're sitting right now. The old building was obsolete. There was mold in the basement. It wasn't ADA compliant. It was time to, we need to do something different to come over here. And it actually gave us the leverage to start our redevelopment project in that area. Our Carnegie Library, 100-year-old library that hadn't had anything, no modernization in 100 years. There's 17 Carnegie libraries in the state of New Jersey, one with the name across the top, and that sits in Freehold Borough. So you look at the front of that building, outside of the new steps, it looks like the same it did 100 years ago. But you go to the back, you go to the inside, it's totally renovated, modernized, ADA compliant, and people will be coming from all over to come to the library also. So, our water treatment plant. Again, another 100-year-old water treatment plant, and after one of the storms, I think it was Irene or whatever that was, where it sat below, flooded out. And everybody said, you need to do something about that. So we did a state-of-the-art water treatment, to go through the next 100 years. And our parking utility. We borrowed money to start up the parking utility. So the water treatment plant is going to be paid through the water utility, parking through the parking utility. But it's why we do things. Like Sharon said, it takes money to make money. We're positioning ourselves for the future so everybody benefits from this. Taxes. Everybody's talking about taxes. Property values in Monmouth County are going through the roof. Okay? The average assessed property value in Freehold Borough over the last 3 years has appreciated 42%. When we're out talking to people, I say, do you have any money in the stock market? Some say yes, some say no. Have your investments in the market made 42% in the last 3 years? Everybody's like, no way. Your house has, on average, the assessed value has gone up 42%. The thing is, you can't have your taxes keep chasing your property values. As your assessments go up, you need something to offset the taxes so they're not in line to keep your taxes lower. Our increase from last year to this year, the amount to be raised by municipal property taxes last year was $308,041, which is a 2.6% increase, which is tremendous when you have inflation running at 6% last year and all your fixed costs are going up. You know, our amount that we're raising through municipal property tax went up 2.6%. APP.com did a thing. If you compare our town to others, on the top of the list, unfortunately, to our friends in Howell, they went up $2,888,788, which was a 10.95% increase year over year. Look at a town like Ocean Township, went up $1,213,945, or a 5.08% increase. And then go to APP.com, it's right in there. So our increase was great in a year when everything was through the roof. Our 3-year average, if you average out what we've done over the past 3 years as far as taxes go, it averaged out to $286,808, or like 2.48%. So less than 2.5% increase in the amount to be raised by taxes over the past 3 years. So we're doing great as far as municipal finance goes. Parking. We launched our parking management system, thanks to Captain Steppett, Mike Sweetman, and Steve Gallo. We launched it on September 5th, 2023, right after Labor Day weekend, right? Correct, Captain?
Yes, sir.
So we've been up and running for 6 weeks. Everybody said, it's gonna kill the businesses. You talk to the business owners, they're making money. I mean, it's a lower time, they're not making the money they were in the summer, but they're thrilled. I mean, you talk to Jeff, Jeff will tell you personal stories, but last year, just from parking, generated over $16,000 in revenue to the borough.
Last year.
Last week, I'm sorry, just last week. $16,000 in 1 week. Think about this, 75% of the people that use these lots are from out of town. Prior to the parking management system, 100% of the cost to maintain those lots were on the taxpayers. All we've done is shift that cost and create a user fee to let the people that use it pay for it. You know, and of the 1,500 spots, 1,000 of them are still free. Over 60% are still free. But the money that's going to be generated from those 500 the money's going to be generated to maintain those lots, so it's no longer a tax burden on the taxpayers. That's why parking went into effect. Cannabis, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, whether you like it or not. When it was voted on, over 71% of the people in Freehold Borough voted in favor of it. Our first retailer opened on June 23rd, 2023. So far, since that day, has generated over $66,000 in new revenue to the borough. $66,000 that we didn't have before in just one retailer. We have another retailer coming, and then 8 more licenses for the other 4 classes. Manufacturing, cultivator, whatever the other 2 are. Wholesaler. So just that one retail license is on target to make $250,000 for the year in new revenue to the borough. Again, it's what's going to offset the rising property value, and inflation. Redevelopment. You've heard about redevelopment. Property values are increasing because people are paying a lot of money to move into town. There's a high demand because of what's happening. Events like Spooktacular on Sunday, throughout the month of window painting. People want to be here. when we put out a request for proposals for our redevelopment project, the professionals, we asked our professionals, what do you think? They said, if you get 2, maybe 3, that'll be great. We got 9. People want to come to Freehold Borough. It's a high demand area because there's things happening. They like the leadership that's in place and where we're headed. The properties in the redevelopment area, starting with Borough Hall, going down Main Street to the across from Freehold Savings, over to Broad Street, back out, back to Throckmorton, back to the tracks, and coming in. Right now, currently, those properties yield about $56,079 of property tax to the borough. Those same properties, after redevelopment, will yield over $1.1 million in revenue to the borough. Same properties. So when you hear that we don't have a plan, that there's reckless spending, it's nonsense. You don't borrow money without having a plan to repay for it. And I want you to see that our plan is in place, it's paying dividends now, and it's only gonna get bigger. You know, and get away from finance. I keep looking at the banner on the wall over there. Our health and wellness, our mayor's wellness campaign, when we got in, we said we want to get involved with the mayor's wellness campaign. We took that, looking at Lynn, looking at Ellen, looking at Annette, we took that from scratch and went to the top level in 3 years. And there's all kinds of events. And people come from all over to participate in our mayor's wellness programs, the downtown concerts, the movie night. This is the place where people want to be, but don't buy into the nonsense that we don't know what we're doing and we don't have a plan in place, because we do have a plan in place. So I threw a lot out at you, but you're going to hear a lot of crap, especially over the next 3 weeks, and I want you to hear the facts. Those are real numbers. You can verify those numbers. They're real numbers as we speak. So I'm done. I'm getting down off my soapbox here. Seeing no further business, like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So be it.
Thank you. We are adjourned.